Hello everyone, happy May the 4th, a wonderful day where we rejoice all things Star Wars. And as it's May the 4th, I thought I'd finally rank everything Star Wars in terms of TV and movies, because I've never really done a lot of Star Wars stuff on the channel before, because, I started after it was all pretty much done. So yeah, we're just gonna have a look through. We've got a tier list here, and we're gonna go through. Obviously we've got S is best, looks like S for Supreme, just top tier. And then bottom we've got Rian Johnson, because he ruined Star Wars. Anyway, so first off we've got Star Wars Resistance. This is a show I haven't seen. This is a show that no one has praised though, and no one's talked about. So obviously I can't give a fair rating on that, but I'm gonna just put it in F tier if I haven't really seen it. But I mean, I've seen most things, so that'll be the only one that's going in there. Next up we have Mandalorian Season 1. This was a great introduction to, like a live action Star Wars show, the first of its kind, and I think it did pretty well. There were some filler episodes in there though, so it wasn't perfect, but I think for the most part it did a very good job. And I would put that in. It's so tough. I'd put it in good. I'd put that in good. I think it's pretty damn good. Now for Clone Wars, they've done each individual season, so I'm actually kind of struggling to see what season this is. Alright, I've just done some readjustments so I could actually figure out what is going on. You can't even zoom in on these pictures and it doesn't tell you. So the Clone Wars movie, that was the first thing that came out, kickstarted the whole Clone Wars animation. It wasn't great, honestly. I think I enjoyed it when I was a child, but overall it's not very good. But I think it was fine. I think it just ranks as okay. Not good even, not good. It's not good, but it's fine. It's tolerable, but never go back and watch it again. Season 1 of the Clone Wars, it's been a while since I've watched through it all. I recently did actually do a watch through, but I was just doing the cheat sheet, which is where you just watch the important episodes, and season 1 only had 2 episodes worth watching, and one of them was Rookies, of course. That's a great Clone Wars episode. So season 1, I would say okay. Season 2, again, it's not that notable. When I think back of Clone Wars and the plot lines, the only memorable plot lines come in the later seasons. So once again, season 2, I would put in okay, and I would say the same for season 3. I think the first 3 seasons were fine, but there was so much filler and so much to skip in there that it really wasn't anything amazing. Season 4 was stronger. I would put that in good, especially as they introduced the Darth Maul. They plotline, they brought him back there, and the back end of season 4, you get some really great episodes. Season 5, same sort of thing. I'd say that's good. It is pretty damn good. What they did there with the Darth Maul plotline, taking it further, expanding on it, that was really good. Season 6, again, I would say good. As you can see, there's a theme here. Season 6 was a weird one because obviously they had to cut it short. They could only do 16 episodes for that. Not 16, 13 episodes, sorry, for season 6. So, because it got cut short, but it did have some interesting plot lines in there actually. They had an Order 66 plot line, which was really interesting. And then you had a lot of stuff to do with Yoda going on a journey through the dark side of the Force and uncovering the mystery of Master Cypher DS. So that was very strong, season 6, even though it did feel a little bit, cut and whatnot because of the way it ended up being released. When it comes to season 7 though of the Clone Wars, it's a tricky one because I think the first 4 episodes were fine. They included the Bad Batch. They were okay, but it was nothing special. The middle 4 episodes were really, really poor, very poor, with the Ahsoka and those 2 sisters. Did not enjoy those. But the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars Season 7 are arguably the best prequel content that's ever existed. Better than any of the prequel movies, just the best prequel content. Those last 4 episodes are incredible. And for that reason, it goes in great, despite the rest of the season not being amazing. those last 4 episodes just took it to a new high. Like, the last 4 episodes are like 10 out of 10 Star Wars content. It's some of the best Star Wars content that's ever been made. For that reason, it goes in great. Alright, Solo. Oh god, I only watched this twice. I saw it twice in the cinema, so I must have enjoyed it enough. I thought the movie was fine. I think it was better than I thought it'd be, but I wasn't expecting much anyway, and at the end of the day, only one man can play Han Solo, and that's Harrison Ford, because he has just a very unique, obviously, charisma to him. But this guy who was playing young Han Solo, even though Han Solo's young in A New Hope, but this guy playing him, he did a good job. I thought it was fine. But it didn't blow me away, and I've never felt a need to rewatch it, I've got to say, and I just don't think it did much. And obviously in that movie they like introduced Darth Maul again, and you think they're gonna like carry that on at some point, but then they just didn't, and I thought it was fine. I'd say it was okay. Okay sounds harsh, but okay is like, it's still watchable. There's like some good elements, but it's not something you would maybe plan on rewatching if you're doing a Star Wars binge. Rogue One I do really like, to be fair. It's actually one of my favourite Star Wars movies. I just, it's not perfect, but I love the soundtrack. I like a lot of the characters in this as well. I think it's just a very cool movie. It actually feels like a war movie. I had a really good time with Rogue One, so I'd put it in good. I think it's a very strong Star Wars movie. Force Awakens is a tricky one, because the hype for that movie was crazy for me, and then when it came out and I saw it, I was like, whoa, that movie was awesome. But it's only when you think about it and you've seen it a couple times and you rest on it and you let the hype die down that you see it has flaws. The flaws being the fact that it was very anti-prequel, and it didn't want to be anything like the prequel, so therefore it was trying to be way too much like original trilogy content. Therefore it didn't really have much identity to it. It was just sort of recycled stuff. But I did like the characters, I did like the performances, and I thought it had some cool elements to it. But looking back on it, it's actually not that good. It does have some pretty glaring problems, but I think it's very watchable. I would put it in okay. I think it's pretty much the same level as Solo. A New Hope, obviously the original, the goated movie. Even though everyone says Empire Strikes Back is the best, but I really like A New Hope. I think it's just like it's a pretty perfect movie. There's not much wrong with it. I just think it's enjoyable from pretty much from start to finish. It's really hard to rank this one. I'm not sure if I would say great or best. It's very tricky. I'm going to put it in great for now. I'm going to see where I put the other things, because I can't quite judge it for now. That's the thing with a lot of Star Wars movies. You're just comparing it to the other things for a decider. Revenge of the Sith, this is a movie I hold very dearly in my heart, but it's only recently as I've actually done like a Star Wars rewatch of like the main 6 movies. The movie does have problems, especially in regards to how quick things happen, such as Anakin's turn to the dark side. Obviously Clone Wars, the TV show, was able to flesh that out, but in the movie it's way too sudden, and some of the dialogue is still quite poor, like a lot of the prequels, so I think it did struggle in that sense. But I think it is a pretty damn good movie. I would put it in good. That's something I would have... Back in the day, I would have said best and great, but if I'm looking at it from a film point of view, I think it's a good movie. It's like an 8 out of 10, Revenge of the Sith. Attack of the Clones, this is a tricky one. I think half the movie's good, half the movie isn't. I really like Obi-Wan's plotline where he's going to Kamino and uncovering the mystery of Jango Fett and the clones. But just the writing for Anakin and Padme and their love story, it's really bad. It's a shame it wasn't written better, because that could have actually been a good story there if they'd done that right, but unfortunately it just was not done well at all, and I would rank that okay. But even so, I'm way more likely to watch Attack of the Clones than The Force Awakens, but on the balance of things, they're probably about the same rating. This is The Rise of Skywalker. That's Rian Johnson. I don't need to say much. I've slagged off The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi a few times on the channel, but it's just awful. It was desperate. It was a desperate attempt to try and revive the trilogy that had been ruined in the prior movie. Bringing back Palpatine was awful. Everything in that movie was awful. Writing, the choices they made, just everything. everything was really bad. And The Last Jedi is worse, in my opinion, just because it's what caused that absolute clusterfuck to even happen. It's because Rian Johnson thought, I'm going to do something edgy with Star Wars, and he just absolutely destroyed characters, well-known characters. What he did to Luke Skywalker is an absolute travesty. I think it's an insult. I think it's beyond disrespectful. And it's horrendous what he did, so I can never forgive him for what he's done there. Empire Strikes Back is it's a great movie. I can never really understand why everyone thought it was the best Star Wars. It kind of took me a while, but after rewatching it, I was like, yeah, this is actually pretty fucking amazing. But what I actually thought was sort of the weaker side of the movie was actually the Luke side of things. I don't know, like, maybe it's because I've seen all the Star Wars movies so many times, and like, but I just didn't find the whole him training and stuff all that fascinating, especially now, like after seeing it so many times. But I did enjoy like the Han Solo, Leia, Chewbacca, Lando, that side of things, and I always enjoy anything with like Vader. So I think it's a great movie, but I wouldn't say it's top tier for me. I know, I'm insulting people right now. Phantom Menace, I'm just gonna say okay again. It has problems. It's similar to Attack of the Clones in a sense. It's like they've got like a 2-hour 20, however long that movie was, Star Wars movie, and they spent the time trying to be funny with Jar Jar Binks and the whole thing on Tatooine. Like, the only highlight of Tatooine was the pod race. Just as a whole, not very entertaining, that movie, apart from when you get to the fights at the end and certain segments in between. Alright, Star Wars Rebels. I'm actually going to create a new thing for not seen, because I don't want to just put these in F, because I've only seen like 2 seasons of Star Wars Rebels. Let's do that. So I don't want to be too unfair. But season 1 of Rebels I thought was pretty shit. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just really fucking boring. Very, very childish as well. Whereas Clone Wars still had like, whilst it was trying to appeal to children, it was still like kind of applicable to, you know, the older viewers. But season 1 was a really tough watch. I'm assuming I put these in the right order, but I'm not actually too sure. Season 2 was better. It was fine. It had some Darth Vader content and stuff, but it's still a lot of filler, and I would have to put it in not good, unfortunately. Season 3 and Season 4 I have yet to watch, but from what I hear, it is better, and from what I'm seeing, well, I've seen certain clips, it looks better. You get some way more Darth Vader stuff, you get Ahsoka, you even get Darth Maul back, which I think is badass. So I need to get around to watching them, but I imagine, I don't know, I don't think they'll be amazing, but they'll probably go in okay or good if I had to guess. The Bad Batch, this was not great. It was a bit of a tough watch, filler, you know, more childish as well. And I think some of the story was interesting. I would say okay for that, just because, you know, I did enjoy some of like the whole Order 66 thing about how these clones weren't turning and they were uncovering the mystery, and this actually bridged the gap between clones and stormtroopers, which is something we'd always wondered, like how that sort of whole thing occurred. So it actually gave us some more lore and explained things, especially from the Camino perspective. But apart from that, you know, it wasn't great, and I wouldn't plan on rewatching it. Better move Resistance into Unseen. Star Wars Visions, Unseen. Actually, no. I did see a bit of that. I watched like 2 episodes. Star Wars Visions is like where they're trying to be anime with Star Wars. It's not for me. I watched 2 episodes and I didn't like it, so I would put it in not good. I think it's something that's going to appeal to other people, but for me, I just didn't take a fancy to it. It didn't really like get me excited and, you know, made me want to watch more, so I would just put it in not good. What the hell is this? It's another season of Star Wars Resistance. I thought they only made 1 of those. I guess they made 2. Unseen. The Book of Boba Fett. Wow, this is a tricky one. I thought, man, I was so conflicted with this. Obviously, I reviewed all of this on the channel, like each episode, but I thought the first 4 episodes were good and they were getting stronger as they were telling the story about Boba Fett. But then It's like they just gave up on Boba Fett and his character and resorted back to the telling of the Mandalorian story, and I think this actually affected the Mandalorian TV show in a negative way because it didn't leave any suspense anymore because they reunited Mando with Grogu. This is something that was up in the air. We were curious, when are they ever going to see each other again? And then they just implemented that story into this show, and I just don't think it worked. I think they jumped the gun, and ultimately I was kind of disappointed by this show, and I wouldn't really want to go back and rewatch it. And I think also the treatment of Boba Fett's character, as I kind of said in my reviews, I feel like the Mandalorian ended up being what Boba Fett was meant to be. So I think Boba Fett just never felt like Boba Fett, and this show was okay, but it's a tough one. I think it did struggle. Return of the Jedi, great movie, but it does have a bit of a glaring problem. I think the middle section of the movie is a bit slow, a bit boring, especially the Endor stuff, obviously. And I don't like the fact that, you know, some teddy bears were able to defeat the Empire. Like, the Empire just looks like pussies in pretty much all these movies. They're just like such incapable soldiers, and you think, why the hell would they get rid of clones when stormtroopers are this ineffective at their job? But I love the ending to that movie. I love the fight scene between Luke and Vader. I think the ending to that movie is amazing, and also the start is really good as well, so I think it's great. Last but not least, we have the Mandalorian Season 2. The Mandalorian Season 2 did something that no other Star Wars things ever made me do, and that was cry. No Star Wars show or movie has ever made me cry, but the ending of The Mandalorian broke me. It destroyed me. I was so invested. I loved the characters so much. I loved the way that show ended, and like I was saying, I feel like the Book of Boba Fett sort of ruined and dampened that effect a little bit with that ending. But regardless, when you just look at this, obviously this is before the Book of Boba Fett, I think everything they did in that show was, in that second season, was pretty much perfect. Bringing other Mandalorians from the Clone Wars, bringing back Boba Fett, I think it was just such a good series, and yeah, the ending was amazing, and for me, it is the best Star Wars content pretty much that I've seen. And you know, now that I'm looking at this list, I need to really move a couple of things, because best doesn't necessarily mean like it's a 10 out of 10 product, but it just means we're talking about in terms of Star Wars, like the best Star Wars content. And for that reason, I'm gonna put A New Hope in there. And I know maybe the other original trilogy should be in there, but I just think the first one is just like, there's no real boring segments to that. I just think the whole of A New Hope is pretty much perfect, and I just think The Empire Strikes Back, I found some segments of it a little bit boring, and the same with Return of the Jedi. I found some segments a little bit boring, but A New Hope is the best Star Wars movie. The Mandalorian is the best The Mandalorian Season 2 is the best piece of Star Wars television. And, you know, for the most part, everything's pretty solid, but, you know, Rian Johnson, of course, ranking is for the last two sequels. We don't talk about the sequels. You know, most things are okay, such as the prequels, such as Clone Wars stuff and other TV shows. But, you know, it's really like the later seasons of Clone Wars, Rogue One, and then, you know, the original trilogy and some of the TV shows that are really like the top end of Star Wars and the stuff that I'm most likely to rewatch on like a yearly basis. Either way, happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. That was my Star Wars ranking tier list. If you enjoyed these ranking things, they've got loads of Star Wars stuff. Like, they've got characters and like clone troopers and Jedi and Sith and stuff, Clone Wars seasons, whatever. Clone Wars arcs even, I bet that's a good one, like a Star Wars Clone Wars levels. They've got loads of stuff, so yeah, if you ever want me to do more of these, I'd be more than happy to. They've got loads of stuff on this website, Tier Maker. Yeah, that was my ranking for Star Wars. Let me know what your ranking would be. What's your favourite movie? What do you think the best Star Wars thing is? What do you think the worst Star Wars thing is? I'd be curious to know. And yeah, I've been Joe Squared, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.